Hi guys, nice to see you all. Thanks for having me here in Budapest. We are arranging songwriting camps here, and Artisjus made this amazing DEX event connected to that. And it's great to be here, and I'm going to talk to you about why we do what we do and the passion of making music. As he said, my background is a songwriter and a producer, and I have been working more than 22 years with that. I started as a lost teenager and worked my way through a long process and ended up with writing and producing songs for Lady Gaga, J Blige, Kylie Minogue, and then now ended up working with Max Martin and Mr. Björn Ulvaeus from ABBA on a few projects. And it's amazing for me to have achieved this, but it has been a long journey, and I hope to be able to share with you a part of that journey and give you some ideas and thoughts about how you can navigate in this big music industry that we're all working in. So today I run 3 organizations. At this time, I actually don't produce and write so much music. I do it sometimes. I'm going to go back writing and producing music, but right now I'm working with music rights and try to change the music industry. So all you guys that are working in this industry, that you're going to get paid and credited correctly. And these are the organizations that I'm running together with Max Martin and Björn Ulvaeus. Auddly is a digital tool for you songwriters to collect all the important data that is linked to the music that you create. There is a huge gap today with this, what we call metadata in the music industry. And that is the biggest problem we have, and it causes so much problems and make you guys don't get paid properly and don't get your credits. So you are so important as creators to be part of the process in collecting this data. And that we do in Auddly. It's a total free tool to use for you, so just as a creator, go to auddly.com, download the software and try it. It doesn't cost you anything, it's free. And then we have the Songwriting Camps, which is an organization that arranges songwriting camps, like the one we're going to start tomorrow. We do it all over the world, and we hope that we are going to have an amazing camp here in Budapest for the next couple of days. And then also Music Rights Awareness Foundation, which is a foundation that educate music creators in the importance of taking care of the music rights and all the data linked to the music. Because you music creators, you are so good being in the studio, but you just care about the sound that you hear coming out of the speakers. You don't care so much about all the data that is linked to the music, and you need to understand how important metadata is to be able to make a living from music. So these are the organizations that I'm working with today. But back to creating music and the passion of it. I have been interested in music since I was a small kid, but I don't understand where it comes from, because in my family we don't have any connection to music. My granddad might have been the only source of music knowledge in my family, and there's a photo of me and my granddad together. He was playing the accordion and I was playing the tambourine. Maybe that was the source of the interest of the music. My parents has always been running their own company. They have a transportation company, and when I got born, I think they said, okay, now we have someone that can take over our company. That was good, but that was not the case, because I wanted to go another path. Nothing happened so much with my music interest until I got 13 years old and started junior high. Then I got into the music classroom for the first time, and I never touched a piano before. So I started to play the piano. I don't have any music education whatsoever, but I just sat down and I played. And I was pretty good at it because I learned fast. I had no idea what I was doing, but it sounded good. So still today, I don't understand scoring. I just use my ears and play. And this affected my school, the work in the school so much, because I have never been a school person. And for people like me, I don't think that school is the right format, because I didn't care about school at all. I just cared about the music. So that was a problem when it was time to take a decision when I was 16, when you need to decide, okay, what you're going to do with your life. Take a decision of the profession you want to have, and it's time to go to high school. My dad and mom, they said, you are going to take an education so you can take over our company. And I had no interest of that. And I was sick tired of school, and I was just 16 years old. So nothing available for music, so I took something else. I became a chef, actually. So I was cooking food during my education in high school. I graduated, and I was actually a bit depressed when I had to go the chef path. Because early, when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, I was 100% convinced that I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to travel around the world, touring around the world, and play arenas. That was my goal. So when I had to become a chef, I was pretty depressed about it. So, graduated, worked at the restaurant. But really soon, when I started working, I realized that I'm doing something wrong here. It's something weird. I'm the wrong person at the wrong place. So I decided to just, okay, no one is going to help me here. It's just one person on this planet that can change this situation. My parents definitely not going to do it, and my friends not going to do it, so I have to do it myself. So I just took the big decision and say, okay, Niclas, now I'm going to be a professional music maker, artist. I had no idea. I just wanted to work with music. So I quit my job and kind of started a war together with my parents, because they thought I was crazy. I had my own apartment. I had an income from working as a chef, and now I just quit my job. And my parents were like, who's going to pay the rent? Blah, blah, blah. We're never going to lend you money. But they did lend me money anyhow, so that was good. But there I was, like, and music maker, songwriter, musician. I couldn't play so good, but I was someone that really would like to work in the music industry and was available. I had bad grades from my school, so I couldn't apply for any other music school. Okay, so how do I do? Hard. I was kind of panicking, and I was thinking, okay, where do we record music? I realized I need to be in a studio, because there you record the music that we can then use to release and then go out on tour. Because at this time I still thought that I'm going to be an artist. So, studio. I looked up one studio, and I forced myself in to become an intern. And now after, they thought I called them 24/7. Oh, can I be an intern? Can I be an intern? And they're like, no, 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 no. And after 2 weeks of 24/7 on the phone, they said, oh, yeah, you're calling all the time, so come in. Afterwards, now I know these guys that own that studio, and they said, oh, let this idiot come in then, because he call us all the time. Let him clean and make coffee and repaint the walls or whatever. Just let him do something so he stops calling us. So there I was in a studio, but now painting walls, cleaning the toilets, and doing the coffee. And I got restless again. Like I'm doing the wrong things here. But I realized that I've changed one thing: location. I'm not at a restaurant anymore. I'm in a studio, but doing wrong things. Again, who is the only one that really can change this? Yeah, myself, of course. So instead of complaining about this, I sneaked into the studio room, and I was sitting in the back, and when they asked for coffee, I made coffee, of course, but then I was quiet. And the studio was a huge mixer, and now it's actually a few years back, so we actually recorded on tape. And there was wires and machines and buttons everywhere. And I understood. It was not so complicated, even if it was like real advanced technology. I really understood the technology. So after being in the background for 1 month or two, I really understood. I was not a professional, and at one time the engineer, he was doing something and said, yeah, we really need a reverb on the snare drum. And I said, let's go. So I just jumped up, just pushed myself front to the mixer desk and just patched in the reverb, and boom. And he looked at me like, oh, what was that? Do you know how this works? Just a few months after that, I was recording my own bands. So it's like forcing yourself in and try to get into the situation, and don't trust that anyone's going to do it for you. Thanks to this, I got an engineer in this studio, and at one recording session, I recorded a band, and the guitar player in the band, we really connected. So from that moment on, just thanks to my engineer position, I met my colleague and my partner. His name is Joachim, and we've been working together now for more than 22 years together. And that was just thanks to my position there, so it's all coincidence. And so I strongly believe that you need to evaluate each situation and see, is it something that's going on here that can help me moving forward? Thanks to this guitar player, we started doing music together, and the first thing we started doing remixes. So the first remix we did became #1 on the Dutch dance chart. It's not a huge thing, but for 2 new producers from a small city in Sweden called Örebro, it was huge to be #1. So that led us to start working, and we built our own studio, and we start getting success, first in Sweden, then in Europe, and then in the US. So for my passion of working with music, it has to go through kind of a roller coaster ride to get to a point where I actually could make a living from it. But all the struggles I did, from that point when I met this guitar player in the band, that changed my life, because from that moment on, I have lived full-time doing music for my whole life. So that was a huge, huge moment for me to get there. And thanks to only myself, because I had no one else to thank to. And now, a few years later, it's so interesting to have this discussion with my dad, because my dad said to me when I was younger that, Niclas, music is a hobby, it's not a profession. There's so few people in the world that has the opportunity to work as a musician or a producer or a songwriter. So do something else. And I thought, okay, I understand that it's a hard competition, but someone's going to succeed, so why not me? How can that old man say to me that you're not going to succeed with this? So I struggled and went my own way. Now, when I have the discussion with my dad, I'm earning more money than him right now, and I say to him, do you want to work for real? Come with me and work as a musician. Now you can start earning more money than driving your trucks all day. And he gets a bit upset when I say that to him. So I think this is a problem, especially for young people that get so affected by the adult life and schools and people around them that say, no, you cannot do this. It's so important to never forget that, yes, you can, if you want it, but it's not going to be simple and easy. So from that moment, we start, touring the world around, not as artists, but we went around the world writing songs, because I realized one thing when I worked in the studio, that artist is not my thing. I'm more a person that want to be behind the music, in the studio, producing, writing. That is my role here. So we went around the world writing songs and met so many interesting people. And here the next thing comes in, network. Try to know as many people as possible. And someone that you meet today that might not be interesting whatsoever because you don't have a connection, be nice to people. And don't expect to get everything out of one person the first time you meet the person. Because you can meet the same person later down the line, and then you might have connections. So be nice. And that was something that we really worked on hard from the beginning. So we spread our network, we met people, we took meetings, and some of our other songwriters that we know, the only thing they cared about was to get to the highest A&R, to get to the best artist all the time. But we were like, yeah, but let's know everyone. We write with people, we are nice. And that has really paid off now later. And because now, 20 years later, the people that we were nice to 20 years ago, they are now CEOs and management on all music companies around the world. So they are our friends. But it took a few years to get to that position. So it's so important to take care of all the people you meet. And even if you don't get what you want today, that person might be the most important person for you later, a few years later. One situation like that happened actually, and it's a strong moment for me. People sometimes ask me which is the favorite song that you have written, and it's a song called Pyramid by an artist called Cherise from the Philippines. She was Oprah Winfrey show in the US had a scout talent thing around the world, and they were looking for talented artists around the world. And this girl won the whole thing. And she sang together with Celine Dion on the final show, and everything was amazing. And they decided, let's do an album for this girl. So Oprah called David Foster, the producer and songwriter, and said to him, let's do something with this girl. And David said to her, yeah, let's do it, but I'm not the right songwriter for this, because we need to find some new, talented, up-and-coming songwriters with fresh sound that can do this. At the same time as they are having this discussion, I'm on a dinner with some friends, and I meet this person that I never met before. Her name is James. And we were talking on a dinner, and she was asking me if I had some songs, and I said, yeah, I had a CD. Now we're talking CD days. And I gave her the CD, and 2 days later, and this happens in Los Angeles, when I was there in Los Angeles. 2 days later, I get a phone call. Hi, it's David Foster. I just got your song from my sister. So this James, she was James Foster, David Foster's sister. I had no idea. 5 hours later, after that phone call, I'm in Malibu in California, together with David Foster in his super fancy house, planning how we're going to do this project. We got the first single, because I wrote and produced that song, Pyramid, and that was the single that they chose for Cherise. So we did the production, and it was amazing. We recorded in LA, in Las Vegas, and it was, professional. It was like for real, and I really felt, oh, this is my big break as a songwriter and producer. This is for real. And after we were done, I went back to Sweden, and then I went back to US again a month later, because it was time for release. And I was so lucky that I came to LA the same day as the release were about to happen. And I had flown for like 12 hours from Sweden all the way to Los Angeles. You get out of the plane really tired, you get your car, you're driving 405 from the airport down to Hollywood, and on the highway, on Kiss FM, the pop channel of Los Angeles, Ryan Seacrest, who is the DJ at this channel, said, now we're going to play the premiere of the new amazing Cherise and the song Pyramid. And I'm like on the highway, you know, we're like 7 lanes in a row. I was in the middle. And they play my song. I wanted to stop the car on the freeway, get up on the roof and say, guys, it's my song, listen, listen. I didn't do that, of course, but that moment was amazing for me to feel like all the struggle from school and forcing myself into a studio, fighting with my parents all the time, boom, in Los Angeles, hear my song on the radio. And this is the passion why I'm doing music, because you're doing something that the rest of the world can hear. So with that said, don't give up. Don't let anyone tell you what's right or wrong. Just listen to yourself, and it's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be super depressing sometimes. But when you stand on the roof hearing your song on the highway in Los Angeles, I promise you, it's going to be amazing. And you all have the opportunities. Because music today, I mean, we have had a few years in the music industry where it has been dark. Before streaming started to change incomes, and the music industry was actually total, you couldn't earn money from music. But now it's opposite. Now you can earn more money than ever. And borders around countries doesn't matter anymore, because streaming makes the music available in the whole world, boom, like that. So it's endless of opportunities, and now we see that money is flowing in from the music industry, from the streaming services. So it's the brightest future ever for music. There is one challenge though. Everyone has the same opportunity. So the amount of content, the amount of songs is huge. So it needs to be unique or good. What now good is, that no one can answer that, but you need to be a bit special to reach out through the incredible noise that's out there all the time. But it's the best future we've seen for a very, very long time. So collaborate with people. I was talking to Artisjus yesterday on a dinner, and I understood that most of the Hungarian music industry is very domestic. But you have a whole world out there. Don't hesitate. Go out, work with people. There is a huge world with songwriters and producers and artists out there that would love to work with you, and you'd have all opportunities in the world. Thank you so much.